This is a headphone stand. I built this headphone stand so I would have a place to put this and that. But you see, there's more to it than that. There's a story behind this build. So let's take a few steps back and see how it was done. Almost every project begins with me cleaning up the mess from the last project I finished. Once I'm done with that, I pick out some lumber and get things started. I design the layout and roughly determine the size of each piece, and then use my straight jig to square up any rough lumber. I use my crosscut sled to cut the base to length, and then use my table saw to put an angle on the uprights, which will be dovetailed into the base. For the dovetails at each end of the base, I will use a Japanese handsaw to cut down each edge. Using my sled, I will remove the bulk of material from each tail, and then I'll clean up whatever material is remaining with my chisels. For the dovetail in the center of the base, I will use a razor blade to score the lines and then use a chisel to create a small shoulder. This process will be repeated on both sides before using a drill bit to remove the bulk of the material. With the shoulder created and the material removed, I will use my chisels to clean up the rest of the dovetail. I cut a notch in the main upright, which will be used to connect the horizontal piece that the headset will sit on. This piece will be made from purple heart, just like the base. I use my straight jig to add some clean angles to the uprights. With the uprights finished, I use my sled to notch out the horizontal piece and cut it to length. I use my miter gauge to soften up some of the rough angles on the smaller pieces. And then I cut the base to size. To clean up a deformity on the back side of the main upright, I use some glue and sawdust from this piece of wood. And then I'll hand sand everything down and glue up the whole project. I use a chisel to clean up the joint connecting these pieces, and then I give the whole project a once over with some 320 grit sandpaper before applying the finish. If you notice, this isn't the look of the piece at the beginning of the video. That's because when I was done with the project, I decided it was too bulky to be functional and went about finding ways to slim the whole thing down. So I slowly whittled away at the whole project piece by piece until I came up with something that I was happy with. I guess the lesson from this project would be, don't settle with something unless you're happy with it. I put way too much work into this project to settle for something less than ideal. As always, if you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe, and if you want to see something specific built, leave it in the comments below. Thanks again.